It's only in recent years that I came to realize that the advice I was given for most of my early young single life, I was still reasonably young, but obviously tautologically by definition less young than I once was. And one thing that people always used to say, they don't say as much, hopefully, because I've evolved, I've changed, I've learned, as such that they don't feel the need to. But one thing I used to hear was, just be yourself. Women will like you. Girls will like you if you just be yourself. That's all you got to do. Just be yourself. Be yourself. A cat might jump up, by the way. What's up, sweetie? And so this is an interesting thing because it's not on its face a bad thing to say. You don't want to be fake. So anyone who puts in the comments, is this guy saying to be fake or be phony or be not authentic? That's not what I'm saying. Be real, be authentic, be honest. Don't be phony. But when people were telling me to be yourself, that's not exactly what they meant. That's not all of what they meant. They meant stop trying so hard. And they were right. They meant stop putting on airs, stop trying to do whatever it was to grab attention. So I grew up, I was a middle child. I was always theatrical, flamboyant in the sense of being ostentatious and wanting attention, wanting to be the class clown, wanting validation, just kind of realizing that I was always this, little kid, then later on a big kid or a kid in a man's body for a while, who was essentially just screaming out, look at me, please recognize me, validate. What's up, honey? Validate that I am a person and see me for just notice that I'm here, please. I don't want to be invisible. And this is common with people, with men and women, boys and girls who have felt invisible for a lot of their life. You might find that these people are disproportionately drawn to endeavors, whether they're more introverted, like writing or some artistic thing you can do solitaire but show people later, or more extroverted, like performance or being on stage and acting. And obviously introverts and extroverts can do either, etc. But you'll notice that people who have wanted more validation, unconsciously or not, they're often drawn to these things. It's not their fault per se, as much as anything is not anyone's fault. It is developed into us, it's built into us, that we need to be noticed, to be meaningful, that to have value, we need to have an immediate presence. We need to be getting off a signal. We need to be peacocking all the time. Or at least enough that people don't go too long without it being brought back to them. And what I really realized was that when people said, be yourself, they didn't mean stop being phony, because I actually wasn't being phony. I was being authentically who I was at that time. But being myself wasn't enough, because who I was wasn't enough. Because who I was someone who was insecure enough and unself-aware enough that I was doing that boyish, infantile, immature thing of constantly wanting that attention, wanting that validation, always wanting to be the person making the joke, showing off with some stupid gimmick or trick or magic trick as well, trying to get attention. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of those things every now and then. And there's also nothing wrong with them in the right context. If you're an actor on stage, of course you're going to be getting attention, because that's the point. But the problem is the person who's the heckler in the audience at a comedy show or a play or whatever, who wants it to be about them no matter where they are, who is not good at actively listening when they're in a conversation, who finds a way to redirect everything so that it's about them, because they think that they will, on some level, disappear unless they're always in the headline, as it were, without realizing that so much of charisma and likability is the self-awareness and security that comes from not needing things to be about you, to just having a calm, collected, chill appreciation for being there, but not needing to have eyes on you, not being afraid of it either, not being scared of eyes on you. And if eyes do come to you, you're able to speak if need be, if it makes sense to, and you're able to do what's necessary. but not needing to say, ding, 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 I'm over here. Please look at me. And I didn't get that. So really, when people said, be yourself, it occurred to me perhaps too little too late. What they meant was stop showing off. Stop having this need to wave your arms in the air, metaphorically, and get people to look at you. You don't need to do that. In fact, not only does it not really work, usually, or not work in the right situations, or not work consistently, but so often it's counterintuitive. It's a good show. It's not one of my absolute favorites, but for many people it is, and it is a show I like a lot, and that's The Office. The character Michael Scott, so much of his character is almost a case study, if it were a real thing, or a demonstration, a caricature of that person who is so desperately wanting to not be invisible and to be important and to have a presence and to be part of it and to get female attention as well as just popular friendly attention, that they push people away by coming across as being inauthentic and putting on airs when really they're not phony. They're just trying so hard, and they're trying so hard often couples with a lack of self-awareness, because in order to try that hard, you have to also not have stepped outside of your head enough that you have the self-awareness to say, I need to shut up. I need to shut up. I need to say less, say fewer words. I need to be less ostentatious. And maybe that's not who I really am. Maybe who I am is someone flailing his arms saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. If that's who you are, then don't be yourself. Fix yourself by internalizing the realization that you can be a person who's calm and collected and secure and friendly enough and genuinely charismatic enough that you don't need for things to be about you. And when I finally at least started to realize that, despite the irony of having a YouTube channel and you know, seeking attention in those kinds of ways, despite those ironies and hypocrisy, if you will, it started to make me a better friend and at least someone with at least the halfway potential of being more attractive to at least some people, even if I'll never be any, you know, Mr. Charisma Brad Pitt or something. But it helped me a lot to learn that. So I hope that's helpful to you. I hope it's maybe interesting. And if not, you know, no problem. Hey, subscribe or like if you want. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for checking out this vlog with me.